What's up, everybody? Back again, Daily Sports. Tony Jigsaw Cutillo, Dave Gloeckner, Jigsaw on the bell ringer. You know the deal. Like, subscribe, follow, sign up, get in Discord. I got to say it all over again, windailysports.com. You know the drill. Again, the early lineup lock show right here we do every single day. We had some good hits as well again tonight, or you could say yesterday, whatever time you're watching this. But we got 9 games to talk about for this slate. I'll tell you what, Dave, one thing's cool. There hasn't been many days where there's been very small slates. I mean, it's been pretty action-packed so far in early going.
It has. It really has. And even tonight, we're here on a Monday night getting ready for Tuesday. Been some exciting games already. Rays, Astros. Spencer Strider takes a no-hitter into the 8th inning.
Oh.
So, but you're right. As far as these like more compact slates, we're usually seeing a little bigger. 9's still a good size. It's gonna be a good one tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be good. And, it's funny. We talked about last night about do we pay off for Spencer Strider? And, and you were animately like, absolutely yes. And it definitely has paid off for the big ROI. But, looking at this slate right here, you always look at those top tier pitchers, who's in that 10 range, and you only have 2. Which is Joey Ryan, and you have Steele at 10-1 from the Cubs. So again, like I say all the time, are we paying off for pitching with these guys, or do we see anybody in that lower tier that's a little more attractive?
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm getting there with. I mean, Ryan, I could get there with. We've talked about how the Yankees are sneaky. You're able to attack them, and even like Sonny Gray's doing it again. So I might get there, but still 10-5 seems a lot with Ryan. I mean, he's been very good to start the year, right? 4-0. But he started at 8,600, rose to 88, 96. Now it's a huge leap, 10% more. I think I'm going to try and settle down in the middle a little bit more. I'm off Steele. I like Steele. Don't get me wrong. Good pitcher. And San Diego is another team you can attack, especially with lefties. Max Fried did it last week, but it just seems like a lot to spend over 10K for guys that might end up in the mid-20s. Like, these aren't guys that are going to get you 38, 39 potential high ceiling. They're mid-ceiling guys. And I like that, but it's just I probably want to go somewhere else. And I think Charlie Morton's a good landing spot. I think Eric Lauer is too. Both Love just Lauer. Under 9K. Yeah.
Yeah, I think exactly. It's exact. I mean, you essentially have to really. We talk about this all the time. I mean, we can like these guys as much as we want, and the stats can be fantastic, but it's still about how do you formulate the rest of your lineup. And we say it all the time. You may be in absolute love with Joey Ryan and say, you know what, I'm all in. That's fine. But again, it's 10-5, and you really have to think about it. When you're going up against a power lineup, even though tonight they haven't looked so great, odds are they're going to be back in swing for the next showing. And at 10-5, if you get dinged up just a little bit, you're already lost. You can't win when your pitcher gets dinged up. It just can't. It's almost impossible. So I love Morton. I was all in on Lauer. As soon as we brought up the slate, I'm like, where's the value? Lauer is one of my guys. I like against a really poor lineup in Detroit. Again, from Milwaukee, I like that a lot. Anybody from the lower tier, I know, sometimes we look at really, really low, don't know how far we want to go down, but again, do you have anybody, whether it's Singer, whether it's Canning, anybody that you look at and say, you know what, maybe we could take a flyer on it?
Yeah, I think Ryan Nelson is someone maybe we can take a flyer on at 7,500. Young kid. Always like to take that young arm potential if I'm going to sneak down low. And he's got 4 starts in. He got dinged up a little bit last game. Hasn't really hit the K numbers that we really wanted to see. But still, I think versus a Kansas City team that isn't so strong with the bats. They jumped out a little bit early tonight. But, you got to get through Witt, Pasquantino, and Perez, and there's not much else. So I could see myself maybe get some shares of him. I'll tell you, and I know it's probably a little bit, on the under-owned side, but even on the flip side, Brady Singer is a guy that I think can eventually, I mean, he's been, bad as they come, but he just needs one of those breaks here. And maybe the break is the Arizona team. And he's got he pitched, don't forget, he pitched for the USA team, right? And I know he's got that potential in him. Had 8Ks 2 starts ago. So maybe in that game I could see it. And, we're getting Canning question on the side here. I like it, Jimmy. Canning's one of those guys last year, if you could remember, he was sneaky good in some starts. And so far this year, been averaging about, 12 DK points. I could see some Canning against Oakland. Yeah, that's a good call there.
Yeah, I look at it. We talked about this before when you may be able to get that lower tier pitcher against a very lackluster lineup. And that's kind of when you kind of want to pinpoint, your strategy and say, okay, if I'm going to pivot to these guys, at least give me a better shot when we're facing a lineup that's not equally powerful. So I think that's definitely somewhere that we could pivot. It's always fun to pivot because you just can't pay all out pitching. You
That's it.
have to pivot a little bit. So I think that's extremely important. Now, on the flip side, when we talk about the bats and the stacks and what lineup, there's a lot of pitchers I think on this that we can attack. A lot of them. But who's those top dogs for you tonight, Dave?
Well, yeah, there's some slop at the bottom, as we like to say. And I mean, the first one you got to think about is attack and Turnbull with the Brewers. Brewers hitting a couple bombs tonight against Detroit. I think that's a decent attack spot. It's so hard to take these Angels in attack, but I mean, I want to. It's just one game they're 12, next game they're 0. I
And
remember
they're so
Oakland.
high. They're
Yeah,
I mean, you really got to pay deep for them, man.
you do. So then you get to a team like the Mets, and hear me out on this. This is what's tough with the Mets is they're coming off a West Coast swing here. I never like guys coming back home off a long trip, but at least they had today off. They played Sunday night baseball in San Fran, and Josiah Gray, while he's been good lately, I mean he's been pretty good. He's 3.74 even though he's 0-4. He's a guy that can get a little wild, and Mets can work lineups. So I don't mind a Mets stack either. And we always talk about attacking one of those top end guys, right? One that people don't want to really take a dip in. Look at St. Louis against San Francisco. Sean Manaea is just, man, he's all over the place too. And St. Louis can stack the bats on either side of the plate and versus a lefty. I think they can get a lot of heavy righties in there. So that's one lineup I might look to stack too.
Jimmy checking in says, I'm thinking Lauer Canning leagues
Yeah.
4,300 per bat, which there you go. If you could pivot on that pitching, it leaves you a big stack lineup. So I do like that.
And I'll say this for Jimmy, I like that more in GPPs, right? If we're going to be in cash games, I might want to take a safe landing spot with a Ryan and then go in the mid tier, but I love that for a GPP perspective.
I'll tell you what else I love about when you talk about the Mets. The one thing I think that's extremely important is you identify the value in some of these stacks that are so high. Listen, Pete Alonso's $6,000. I'll be personally honest with you. I'm not paying $6,000 for Pete Alonso. If I'm going to pay $6,000 for anybody, it's going to be Acuna, it's going to be Ohtani, and that's probably about it. I can't get up to Pete Alonso at 6,000. But here's the thing about the Mets that I really like. You have a ton of lower end value here. So this is where I do my favorite combo strategy is where, you have a 9-game slate. There's a couple guys I think we can pinpoint in this lineup, like a Nemo or McNeil, and also like a Marcana, who, again, kind of been really good. He's only 3,200. And if you look at what he's done, 5, 12, 7, 7, 14 at 3,200, he's just above FFVP level. And he's hit safely in his last 5, one multi-hit game, and he's got 2 doubles. He's got 2 walks, only struck out 1 time. That's the kind of value you can get against a guy like Josiah Gray. So I like that call, Dave. I think what I would do, me personally, is I take a couple of those Mets, those lower tier Mets. Maybe possibly if you want to stack one of the big dogs, I still always say this. Go with the guy who can hit all around. So I would start with Lindor and make him your core. And then you could go down to a guy like Kana and take either Nemo or McNeil. And I think there you go, your 3-way stack for a Mets team that's going to be really good.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, and even sprinkle in Marte when you can, because Marte's another guy that does a little bit of everything, including stolen bases. So, and against a righty, you always got to look who's on the mound. You can steal a little easier against righties. So, I like where you're at.
Adam checking in. What's up, Adam? Adam been to a lot of Phillies games lately, man. I've been seeing it on the post there, which is awesome, man. Always
awesome.
Always good from hearing our boy Adam. Now, talking about going a little deeper, Dave. Any value stacks? I will tell you. I don't want to jump the gun here, but I get these little sneaky vibes, right? I like these little. I like. Should I dare say I like a sneaky Kansas City stack? And you know why? Is I look at it, and again, this is all gut feels, right? Nelson, you matched up, but again, he hasn't been fantastic. He's given up a lot of hits. He's given up a lot of runs. He's given up 4 home runs in 4 starts. So What I think is you look at this KC lineup, and the first thing that screams to me is the V word: tremendous value. You don't have to go with Witt Jr. at top of 5,000. You could go with Pasquantino. Okay, you can go with Dozier, who's just a home runner, nothing guy. But then you can get really interesting, and you can go with a Matt Duffy. You can go with my FFVP, which is going to be Franmil Reyes. And what I like about that, you bring up Franmil Reyes, you watch them in Cleveland do the same thing. The dude just hits the ball. It's like a Nick Castellanos said, I get paid to hit baseballs. All Franmil Reyes does is hit baseballs. And he's been positive point production 4 out of 5 games. He's at 2,700. And Dave, that number has not moved. It has not moved. So again, he's reinstated. He's going to play. And I think he's 100% in play for this game.
Yeah, I love what you're saying there. Kansas City again, a team that can get sneaky, right? And you're going against the grain there. So
he's a new dad. He's a new dad. So, he was on paternity leave. So he's a new dad now. So I'll just say he got that extra juice in him too.
That is, and talking about new dads, Max Muncy looks like he might be. I think he's out for the next 3 games on the similar list. Jimmy checking with the Braves. Yeah. So it can go either way. I like where your mind's at, especially coming off a big night again tonight with the Braves bats. But thinking about it, here's the only thing I'll say. I like it, but there's times when it's tough to attack a rookie pitcher because you just don't know what you're going to see. So I want to get a little bit more deeper and learn some about Hayne. I don't understand why he's 8,300 in his first start. I know he's got some value. I know coming up from the minors who he is. I just want to see what he's been doing in AAA. But good point. It is a valid point that you could stack against him. It could go either way. He could throw a great 5-inning shutout, or he could get rocked in 2 innings. I don't think there's anything in between.
No, I completely agree. Derek says at the outset, he call, hey man, it's just a gut feel, man. You gotta be a little unique in this, and you gotta dive deep into certain things. And I love to dive deep. So that's one of those deep dives I really, really like. Now, Dave, for your part, any value, any sneaky stacks, FFVP, what you got for tonight?
Yeah, like I said, I think one of the ones we're going to want to look at is St. Louis. And then when you talk about St. Louis, I mean, their lineup is, littered with value, but that value kind of like hovers around that 3K range. So it depends what they put in there with their righties. If Jordan Walker, I think he's up to 31 now.
34 now. Now he's on the 30. He keeps climbing, man. He keeps climbing.
I can't get there with him then. So then, what's one of my other stacks I like? I'm on the spot. Well, you said Fran Mill's yours, right?
Yeah, I like Franmil Reyes.
Yeah, so then I'm gonna have to dive down into the Mets, and I know Brett Beatty has been, coming up. Alvarez hit his first homer the other day, so you know what? In front of our home crowd, back, after coming up with the team, give me Brett Beatty tomorrow. To be my value player at 2,500. Like I said, he just came up recently. He's been in the lineup every day, just about. I think they gave him 1 day off, but looking good so far. 3-game hitting streak.
Yeah, listen, he's hit safely in 3 games. He's striking out, but that's what young guys do, right? And the thing is, he's still hitting the ball. I don't mind if you strike out, but as long as you can hit safely in these games, that's all we care about. So I like the call because Josiah Gray is so hittable. And again, when you're a young guy, you're playing at home in front of that home crowd. You just feel a little more comfortable. So I definitely like that call. 13 games, 9 games, Dave. Final thoughts, anything else we got?
No, I mean, you have some early games once again. So in the early games, it's going to be, depending where you want to go, but Drew Rasmussen obviously in play. I just think the world of the guy. And, today, Taj Bradley kind of showed up live against the Astros. I think you got a spot there. Rasmussen could go over his K rate. Probably going to be set around 5.5. But outside of that, it's like we said earlier, the top 2 numbers being over 10K can still be really good for you. But the problem is I just don't think they carry that value of the super high ceiling. So I want to get more in the mid-range. And that's where I'm going to be tomorrow.
Yeah, I like it. We're going to call it Mid-Range Tuesday. How's that? Mid-Range Tuesday for this early lineup vlog. Make sure you give us a follow, windailysports.com. Make sure you're hopping in that Discord as well. I know there's a guy named Jimmy that keeps hitting us up, in the comments. And all I tell him is that we drop our picks every day in our Discord room. It's just easier for us to do it that way. We do the stream here. We give you some value. We give you some ways that we're looking. And then make sure you're hopping that Discord room. It's labeled props. And, whether it be Dave, whether it be myself, myself, whether it be Jason. Somebody's always in there dropping some really good, valuable plays. So make sure you get in tune with that as well. But as always, man, everybody for checking in, thank you. Hit the likes button, hit the subscribe button. Everybody stay safe and stay healthy, and we'll catch you back here next time.